What's going on, everyone? Moose here, Airguns of Michigan, and today we're going to talk about something that really I just don't see a lot of information on, but I get asked this question all the time, and that is, Moose, do you weigh and sort your pellets? Well, in all honesty, I kind of slack at it. However, it's a very, very good idea to weigh and sort your pellets. And even to the point of sizing your pellets. Now, people are like, well, why do I want to do that? Why do I want to do that? Well, have you ever just had that random flyer that goes off into left field and you're like, man, that group was going so good. And then all of a sudden I get one 6 inches out of the right field and just a bit outside. Well, there's a reason for that. And the majority of the time, the reasoning is for that is either a damaged skirt or a pellet that has not been properly sized or potentially even weighed. More likely, it's a damaged pellet or not a uniform skirt or head size. So what happens is you know, these air guns that we shoot are very, very tunable, right? The majority of them are very tunable. So we're getting standard deviations of under 2, especially in our guns that we're shooting in competition, me and you alike. And then we wonder why all of a sudden is that one just going way outside? I know I'm still shooting a good consistent speed. Well, it's skirt size. It's because that skirt's generally a little loose or maybe a little tight, or the head, something's wrong with the head size. So getting a good pellet sizer as well as weighing and sorting is going to greatly impact your ability to shoot very, very well. So I get asked this a lot. Like I said, Moose, you know, how do you sort pellets and what do you do with the leftovers? Well, here's the thing. There are no leftovers. Leftovers would be something if I was only willing to shoot, you know, 44.75s. Right? If they had to be 44.75 no matter what, then yes, I'd have a lot of scrap left over. However, that's not the case. In the case of the exact jumbo monsters here at 25.39, I don't personally care if they're 25.42 or if they're 25.33. It makes no difference as long as I'm only shooting 33.33s or a little deviation of that at one time, or I'm shooting 35.41s or a little deviation from that. So generally I go 0.2 or 0.02 above and 0.02 below, meaning that if these are supposed to be 25.39, then I'll shoot 25.41 through 25.37s in 110, because that only gives me that slight variance in weight. So first thing you should do is get yourself a scale. These are really super cheap on Amazon. You can just turn it on, make sure it's set to grains, and this is, so if I put this first pellet on there, oh, it was on grams, sorry. Let me get it on grains here. Grains. If I put this on there, I get 25.44. So that's outside of what I wanted for my 25.39s. So this is going to go into, and actually now it's saying, oh no, it's 25.44. So we're going to take this pellet and we're going to set it into this tin, and with a little piece of paper or even on the lid, I'm going to write 25 point, because I want to be 4 above this, so it'd be 25.33 to 25.37, right? Do you guys understand where I'm going with that? So that gives me a standard deviation of 0.04, or a deviation off that. So everything from 25.33 to 25.47, or I think I just screwed up. 25.43 to 25.47 is going to go into this tin. That's enough of an addition to whatever I'm doing that it's not going to make that big of a difference. Then I'm going to weigh my next pellet. And in this case, we came up with 25.44. So there you go. Another one identical to that one. So we're going to put them into there, right? So this is just the first stage. And we might have multiple tins. Sometimes, depending upon the size of the pellet, I may find that, you know, especially in my 30 caliber stuff, I might have 6 different tins out, right? And then, you know, and I'm going to dump 8 tins or 6 tins to make 6 more tins, and I might even need some extra tins. Once we've done that, then we can either be examining them at the same time, like, right, we can pick it up, look at the pellet, and say, yep, it's a good shape. Put it on there, 25.76. So that's a really, really heavy one, right? So I might say, you know, chances are I'm not going to run into a bunch of those. So we're just going to set those aside or have their own tin made up for them. Once again, we're going to examine the pellet, stick it on the scale, 25.62. So that's still much heavier than we've been looking at, right? So I'm going to have different tins set aside for those. We're going to examine the skirt again, make sure it's in good shape. The head, 25.42. So that's going to go right into our other tin here that we were working with, right? So, well, actually, it's going to go back into this more like along the 25.39s, right? But the point of this is that we are creating the closest thing to the same repetition through our air gun as often as possible, right? We always want that gun to shoot very similar weights, well-built pellets, no bent skirts, no nicked heads. And here at the end of the day, you know, these pellets all get shipped out to us, and they come from overseas, right? We all know that these come from the Czech Republic. So they're put into tins at the factory. You know, the tins get jostled around. I mean, they do a very good job with the padding in these to keep them as safe as possible. But at the end of the day, we're still shipping these things overseas. They're loaded on trucks. They're taken out to Predator pellets. They're unloaded at Predator pellets. Predator loads them into containers, and they're not opening them, and then they're shipping them out. So we get tins and, you know, stuff that can be damaged. You know, we get stuff that can be, you know, just the pellets themselves from rolling around can get deformed. It just happens. There's not much you can do with lead. I mean, it's not like they're tungsten where no amount of force is really going to damage them, right? I mean, it's lead, so it's soft. It's going to have issues. So, you know, that's why we do that. And then, like I said, with sizing, you know, if you get a sizer where you push it through, you'd be really surprised. You can really fix a lot of deformities that you know, you may just want to shoot it, but either way. So by doing that, you greatly increase your chances of very accurate shots, whether you're in competition or hunting or just out in the backyard plinking. You know, doing this kind of stuff is going to improve your groups, right? You are absolutely 100% going to improve your groups. You know, any of those pellets or slugs that come with seams on them, they're just not going to fly as cleanly, right? They're just not, you know, I mean, no matter what you do, they're never going to be as accurate as a well-made slug or a well-made pellet. So hopefully that answered some questions. I get asked that all the time. Do you weigh? And I'm like, well, I mean, honestly, in the past, I've just been more of a, whatever, grab a tin, open it up, load it up, start shooting. But I know that my scores are going to greatly increase by weighing and sorting. You know, these guys that are winning competitions like RMAC and, you know, and the Pyramid Cup and EBR, those guys weigh and sort their pellets. You know, I almost guarantee it. And, you know, it's just part of the game. And you'd be really surprised at how much accuracy you're going to gain by doing that. So anyway, with that being said, I'm Moose. This is Airguns of Michigan. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and we'll see you next time. Till then, be good to each other, and God bless.